The Florida black bear is a subspecies of the American black bear that has historically ranged throughout most of Florida and southern portions of Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi. The large black-furred bears live mainly in forested areas and have seen recent habitat reduction throughout the state. Description: physical: Florida black bears are typically dapper, large-bodied with shiny black fur, a light brown nose and a short stubby tail. A white chest patch is also common on many but not all the bears. It is currently Florida's largest terrestrial mammal with an average male weight of 300 pounds and a few have grown above 500 pounds. Females generally weigh less on average. Average adults have a length of between 4 feet and 6 feet, and they also stand between 2.5 feet and 3.5 feet high at the shoulder. Behavior: Florida black bears are mainly solitary, except when in groups or pairings during mating season. Although they are solitary mammals, in general, most are not territorial, and typically do not defend the range from other bears. Black bears have good eyesight, acute hearing and an excellent sense of smell. Habitat: Florida black bears live mainly in forested habitats, and are common in sand pine scrub, oak scrub, upland hardwood forests and forested wetlands. Black bears in southern Florida are the only subspecies to live in a subtropical region. To a lesser extent it also inhabits dry prairie and tropical hammock range. Before Florida was settled by Europeans, Florida black bears occupied all of the Florida mainland, and even many of the Florida Keys, with a population around 12,000. The current range is much more sporadic, with isolated groups living mainly in protected areas in Florida, southern Alabama, southern Georgia, and southern Mississippi. Most major populations of Florida black bears live in protected areas. These include Ocala National Forest, Big Cypress National Preserve, Everglades National Park, Apalachicola National Forest, Osceola National Forest, and Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge. A study of the Okefenokee-Osceola population found over 500 bears in 2 study areas. The current bear population in Florida is estimated at more than 3,000 bears. Diet: Florida black bears are omnivores and the diet varies greatly with the seasons, likely because many of the preferred species of flora and fauna are seasonal. In the spring they mainly consume sabal palmetto, Thalia geniculata, Suscrofa, Bombus bimaculatus and Camponotus species. In the summer they primarily eat Serenoa repens, Ilex glabra, Rubus species, Phytolacarigia, Vaccinium species, Camponotus species, and an isomorpha Prestoides. In the fall, they eat Serenoa repens, Ilex glabra, Nisibiflora, Vespula species, Apis mellifera, and Dasypus novem cinctus. Conservation: habitat loss is greatly affecting Florida black bear populations. Nearly 20 acres of wildlife habitat are lost to new development every hour in Florida. Bears being injured or killed by motorists is another threat to regional populations. Since 1976 there have been more than 1,356 documented cases of bears being killed in Florida. Over 100 bears are killed on Florida roadways each year, and in 2002 a record 132 deaths occurred. That makes roadkill the #1 cause of bear death in the state, with 89.5% of bear deaths since 1994 being attributed to such crashes. The Florida state legislature outlawed the hunting of the Florida black bear in 1994. Biological Status Review. On June 27, 2012, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission delisted the Florida black bear despite biologist and affiliates' concerns regarding low genetic diversity. According to the report, loss of genetic variation may reduce the ability of individuals to adapt to changes in the environment, cause inbreeding depression, and increase the probability of extinction. The decision was based on population size alone, although FWC said the most recent statewide estimate of the bear population was done in 2002 and new numbers won't be updated until 2016. In addition to delisting the Florida black bear from the list of threatened species, rules were adopted stating it is still illegal to injure or kill a bear in this state, or possess or sell bear parts. 2015 Bear Hunt. On August 3, 2015, FWC began selling special use permits for the hunting season beginning on October 24, 2015. The commissioners voted to proceed with it despite public opposition. Of the 40,000 people who responded to the commission's request to comment on the proposed hunt, 75% said they wanted no bear hunt. According to the Tampa Bay Times on October 27, 2015. By August 23, 3,778 permits were sold. On the first day of the hunt, 207 bears were killed. FWC's goal was to have hunters kill 320 bears during the up to 7-day hunt, but 295 were taken after 2 days, discouraging bears from human-occupied areas. Bear sightings have been increasing in Florida in recent years. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission has posted a number of actions that can be taken to discourage bears from encroaching into human-occupied areas. Most importantly, don't allow access to food sources. Keep garbage cans in the garage or put locks on the lids. Don't keep pet foods outdoors and don't use feeders. Electric fences are a good way to secure a perimeter. Keep ripe fruit and garden vegetables picked. Clean outdoor grills. Motion-activated alarms are effective in scaring bears away. Legislative action. On December 11, 2015, Senator Darren Soto filed, along with co-sponsor Senator Eleanor Sobel, SB 1096, the Black Bear Habitat Restoration Act. This bill would require the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, and the Department of Environmental Protection to create an account within the Non-Game Wildlife Trust Fund to assist with funding for bear-resistant trash cans and take certain measures to conserve bear habitat. A House Bill, H.B. 1055, was filed on December 28, 2015 by Representative Mark S. Pafford and co-sponsored by Representative Dwight Dudley, which coincides with S.B. 1096. This bill states it would require similar measures stated in S.B. 1096. Conservation efforts would include changing schedules for controlled burns in bear habitat, permanently banning the harvest of or palmetto berries, and ban sales of timbering rights to acorn-producing oaks. The mention of prohibiting the sale of timber rights on state land was in response to land usage in the bear management plan, which also included grain farming and cattle ranching on state land. The bills would also require a panel of 5 biologists and wildlife ecologists appointed by the Senate to oversee the Black Bear Habitat Restoration Act. Endangered Species Act petition. On March 17, 2016, various conservation groups throughout Florida, led by the Center for Biological Diversity, petitioned the U.S. Department of Interior to request the Florida black bear be listed on the Federal Endangered Species Act.